Hello everyone. This video is going to teach you about comparative and superlative adverbs. Now you're aware of comparative and superlative forms with adjectives, and in this video we shall be learning about these specific forms related with adverbs also. So let's get started. Well, students, adjectives you are aware of are words that we use to add something into our nouns. And when we talk about nouns or pronouns, and when we talk about adverbs, these are words that are used to add something to our verbs. As adjectives have their comparative and superlative degrees, similarly, our adverbs also have their comparative and superlative forms. Now, if I talk about the comparative and superlative adverbs, we need to first understand that in most cases, adverbs can be formed by adding ly to our words. For example, we have a word like slow. Slow is an adjective, and I can make it into an adverb by adding ly. Slowly. Now, slowly becomes the adverb. Now, this particular adverb slowly can have its comparative and superlative degrees. But in this case, again, we would be adding something to this particular word slowly. So we add words like a word like more slowly. When we use it as more slowly, we are using it in its comparative form. And when we say most slowly, we take it to the superlative form. So by adding more with our adverb, we form its comparative form, and by adding most with our adverb, we form its superlative form. So if we have an adverb like quietly, quietly is an adverb, we can make it more quietly or most quietly. Often. You know that often is an adverb, and it's an adverb of frequency. More often, most often. We'll see how we're going to use them in sentences, but first you need to know that we are making adverbs, their comparative and superlatives, by just adding more and most. A lot of adverbs are formed by adding ly, but there are adverbs like often, in which we are not using ly. But again, their comparative and superlative are formed by adding more or most. More often, most often. Quickly is another common adverb. More quickly, most quickly. Now, where do we use comparative adverbs? You're aware that comparative forms, if you look back at comparative adjectives, we know that we use them when we are making comparisons between two things. So, when we are using comparative adverbs, we are using them to show change or make comparisons between two. That is between two things or two actions over here, because we are talking of adverbs. So, if I take an example, I forget things more often nowadays, which means than earlier days. So I'm comparing today or nowadays with the earlier days. I forget things more often nowadays. This is a comparative adverb that I've used more often with the reference to my action of forgetting things. So often over here is an adverb. We are using it to add something to our verb, or that is forget, the habit of forgetting things. I forget things more often nowadays, which means than earlier days. Similarly, another example, she ate her lunch more quickly than Joe did, which means she ate her lunch more quickly than Joe did. It means she is being compared with Joe. Her action of eating lunch is being compared with that of Joe more quickly. And you can notice again with comparative forms as with adjectives, we are using than. So with comparative adjectives, we need to use the word than after our adverb so that we are clear that we are using the comparative form. More quickly than. Can't we go faster than the speed at which we are going? Can't we go faster? This is a sentence in itself. Can't we go faster? Now, faster over here, you must be thinking, is it an adverb? There are some adjectives which are used as adverbs also. Fast in itself is an adjective. Faster is a comparative adjective, but faster or fastest can also be used as adverbs depending on where we are using it. If we are using it with the verb, this would turn into an adverb. If we are using it as a quality of a noun or pronoun, we would be using it as an adjective. Over here, can't we go faster? We are using this after our main verb go, so we are using it as an adverb. And because we are using it as a comparison, which means can't we go faster means we are comparing it with the speed which we might be using earlier, which could be faster than this. Can't we, which could be slower than this or faster than this. Can't we go faster than the speed at which we are going right now? So it is a comparative sentence. The speed at which we are going right now, we're comparing it with the speed that we have in our mind, the speed that we wish to increase it to. And faster over here is not an adjective. It is being used as an adverb. I'll come to this part of the adjectives and adverbs in the later part of this video. Right now, you just need to know that we are looking at comparative adverbs. And with comparative adverbs, we use than a lot of times. But if we do not use than, even then we are able to convey our sentences as in this example, can't we go faster? It's a question that has been raised. I'm not stretching this sentence to can't we go faster than the speed at which we are going right now. I can stretch it to this and make a complete sentence out of it. But I've shortened it by saying can't we go faster. So in both cases, we can use than also. It's not a compulsion that we need to use it. But if we look at our everyday conversations, a lot of times comparative sentences or comparative adverbs are used with than. And with that than being used, we are able to draw the two ends of the sentence, the two things which are being compared. The company performed better this year. This is another example. When I say the company performed better this year, it means I'm comparing this year with some other year. It could be the previous year. So I'm not using than over here. I could have used the company performed better this year than last year. If I'm not repeating, it is understood that I'm drawing a comparison. And my adverb in this sentence is better. You know that good, better, best are the three forms of the adjective good. Now over here, the good adjective has been used as an adverb. The comparative form of the good adjective, which is better, is being used as an adverb in this sentence because it is coming after my main verb performed. There are a lot of adjectives which have a similar usage as an adverb. A lot of adjectives are converted into adverbs by adding ly, like quickly, slowly, quietly. But there are some adverbs which are used the way they are used as adjectives. The only difference is how we are placing them in our sentences. When we are placing these adjectives as adverbs, we are placing them after our main verbs. The company performed better this year. So it is clear that we are using it as an adverb. Now, if I talk about the superlative adverbs, the superlative adverbs are the best ones. It means they are one of a kind. They are at the top as far as their performance or ranking is concerned. And we use the word most along with our superlative adverbs to show that they are the supreme ones. They are the best ones in that entire category. There is no comparison as far as the superlative is concerned. An example, we need people who are determined, not just those who can run the fastest. We need people who are determined, not just those who can run the fastest. The fastest over here is the superlative adverb actually, because fast, faster, fastest. And we are not using more or most in this case because we are not having our adverb in the ly form. For adverbs with ly, we would be using most for our superlative sentences. Now, if I take another example, worst of all, we didn't have the rights to our own films. Worst of all, we didn't have the rights to our own films. This is a strange sentence wherein this person is talking about an extreme situation, worst of all. Worst in itself is the superlative form for the adjective bad. Bad, worse, worst. And bad can be used, or bad, the forms with bad, these comparative and superlative forms can be used as adverbs also. Over here we are using this word worst to express our superlative forms. You need to remember that some adverbs we may not have the comparative or superlative forms. There are a lot of adverbs, specifically adverbs related with time. Adverbs like yesterday or every day or daily. Even adverbs of place like then, here, or adverbs like down when we are talking with respect of place. These don't have their comparative or superlative degrees. Now, most of the time, the adverbs ending in ly will form their comparative and superlative by just adding more and most to them. Slow as an adverb, as an adjective, gets converted into adverb slowly. And for comparative, we make more slowly. For superlative, we make most slowly. Similarly, happily, more happily, most happily. But this is where the trickier part is. There are some adverbs which have the same form as an adjective. So how do we identify them? We identify these adverbs by looking at where they are coming in our sentences. Are they coming as a quality of our verb? So we are using them as an adverb. And if they are coming as a quality of a noun or a pronoun, we are using them as an adjective. And if you remember, there are a lot of adjectives in which the comparative and superlative forms are quite different. As I gave you the example, words like good, good, better, and best. These are the three forms, and better is the comparative form, best is the superlative form. Bad, worse, worst. Worse is the comparative form, worst is the superlative form. Fast, faster, fastest. Faster is the comparative form, fastest is the superlative form. We are not using more or most in these cases because these are those adverbs in which the words for adjectives and adverbs remain the same. For certain words, we are able to create adverbs by just adding ly, and that is why in those cases we use were, more, or most. Now, if I look at basic rules, they remain the same. If we have to form the comparative or superlative for certain adverbs like adjectives, we either add er or est. Er for the comparative form as fast, faster, fastest. Long, longer, longest, we add er or est for comparative and superlative. And for words ending in y, as I said, early, early. Now, early in itself is an adjective, and when we are forming its comparative or superlative, we convert it into IER, earlier, EARL, IER, or earliest, EARLIEST. We are adding ER or EST, but we are replacing our Y with I in this case. These are some spelling rules. I think with a lot of adjectives that you must have practiced by now, you are clear how you are forming comparative and superlative. The idea is just to tell you that the comparative and superlative adverbs are very much similar to comparative and superlative adjectives. The only difference is that for adverbs which are formed with ly, we add more or most, and for words wherein we are using these words as adjectives and adverbs, we follow the rules that we followed for adjectives. Like as I mentioned about words like good or bad, or words like fast or slow, we follow the rules regarding the adjectives by adding er or est to make adverbs out of them. The idea behind using these comparative and superlatives remains the same. When we are using comparative adverbs, we are comparing the intensity of our action with the another one. And when we are using the superlative adverb, we are showing that the way this action has been performed, it's at the best, or there is no comparison. It is one among the top in this category. When we're comparing our actions, I would say the only difference that comes when we're using adverbs.